What's up, core reporters, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on the latest episode of Teen Mom Next Chapter. Per usual, I used Philo to stream the show, and you too can get in on the good stuff with the affiliate link that I've got in the description box of this video. You'll get a free 7-day trial to Philo so you can watch all the reality television that your heart desires. Now, there's a lot to discuss this episode, so let's just jump on in. First of all, we've got a convo between Cheyenne and Zach, where she's basically telling him, Zach, you know how like you've been begging me for a third kid? Here's what you need to do to make that a reality. I need for you to like get a job so that you can cover the healthcare costs at least for this family. And she gives like a number of how much money it's costing them. And like my Canadian brain is like exploding, and even more so because like I'm in France where we also don't really pay for like healthcare. I'm like, guys, I thought y'all were supposed to be the best country in the world. What is this? Why are you guys doing this? It's crazy to me. And so now Zach, who had been begging for a kid all this time, suddenly is like, you know what? Maybe now's not a good time to have a kid. All just because he doesn't want to go out, get a job, and actually provide for this child. Guys, I genuinely do not understand how a pretty rich girl like Cheyenne, first of all, had like a one-night stand baby with Corey, right? And then she moves on to marry someone who is like a bum, a felon with like a bunch of DUIs. Like, I really would love to have like a deep dive into what was going on with her, like outside of the money, outside of the beauty, because I feel like on the inside, something is missing for her to end up in this kind of a situation. Now, Zach, like he got really defensive and rude to Cheyenne when she was trying to figure out his career goals and everything like that. And you can just tell that he kind of just like, he resents the fact that it's all Cheyenne's money, but he's not doing anything to go out there and make his own. And so it's kind of like there's no winning for either of them in this situation. Like, not good. I really worry for her and the health and the longevity of this marriage. Like, even Sean is working to be a home inspector and everything like that. Like, Zach, you really need to get it together here. Now, speaking of Sean, we cut to him scolding Khloe for letting the dogs out. Jade was doing some kind of like a call for a real estate deal, and the dogs were put away in another room, and Khloe was left unattended, and so she let them out. And here comes Sean. I guess he came out of the toilet with his giant roll of toilet paper to yell at her for letting the dogs out and everything like that. He's always just so aggressive. They both are, but in this case, Sean just so aggressive with that poor little girl. Now, meanwhile, in West Virginia, Leah goes with her daughter. Sorry about that. The photo is out of order. Now, meanwhile, in West Virginia, Leah takes her daughters to visit Kayla Young, who is a West Virginia state delegate, so that she could talk about reproductive health with them and everything like that. And I thought it was so wonderful. One thing about Leah is she loves a PSA. I think I'm going to start calling her PSA Leah from now on. But I really think that like her PSAs are getting like very like important. You know, they used to be very self-serving, like to go like to scrub away like the rug addict image, but now she's actually doing stuff to help out these kids and to help out other young girls like in the state and in the country. So I really, really love that. Like, they're raising awareness for reproductive rights, sex ed, decreasing teen pregnancy rates, like really good stuff. So congratulations to them. And the representative tells them that they're allowed to reach out to their state representatives to request female hygiene products and like schools, jails, different things like that, because apparently female prisoners do not have free access to hygiene products. They have to ask for them, which I feel like is just wow. I really hope that this episode being aired helps people to be able to do something about that, because that's just, you know, insanity, right? Next, you've got Cheyenne and Jade going out to brunch, having mimosas, popping champagne while they've got their unemployed husbands at home watching the kids. And Jade brags about Sean studying to become a home inspector, and then Cheyenne complains about Zach not actually making any real moves towards his future. And one thing about Jade is that she even closed out on a real estate deal while she was out there on vacation, like too. And I was like, you know what? Good for you, Jade. That's another one where I wonder like how she wound up with a Sean. You know what I mean? Like, she's also a pretty girl. Like, I know she doesn't come from an affluent background like Cheyenne, so like I get it more, like just based off of like who she was surrounded by, based off of like the income level and like the neighborhoods and stuff like that. But I still feel like, you know, she's a smart girl, she's a hard worker, she's a pretty girl. She could have done better, you know, or at least cut her losses after she had Khloe. But I digress. Listen, these are her decisions. These are their decisions at the end of the day. All I can do is commentate on them. And Coach B, by the way, like, remember when on Teen Mom Family Reunion, she said that Zach looks to Cheyenne as sort of a mother figure to guide him in every sense of the word. And this is what I mean when I talk about these men being unemployed, because it's one thing for like, for them to be unemployed, but to be like really good, like stay-at-home dads and stuff like that. But that's not even the case with them. When Coach B accused Zach of being Cheyenne's son, it's because Cheyenne talked about how she does all of this work, right? She does all of these like projects. She's got the show, she's got the podcast, she's launching businesses for herself, she's launching businesses in Ryder's name and everything like that. And Zach is just at home. But even though that is the case, she's still getting up early in the mornings to get Ryder ready for school. And she asked Zach to help her with like Ryder or with the other kids. And he can't even just do anything. He has to ask her, well, what do you want me to do? For his own kids. You know what I mean? So that's why I go so hard on them, because it's like, you don't have any job. Like, why are you not the one like doing all the scheduling? Why are you not the one getting up with the kids? Why are you not the one making the dinners and stuff like that? And then in Jade's case, she's got her hair salon, she's doing real estate, like she's doing all these other things as well. And then Sean is just at home playing video games. And guess what? When they had to pull Khloe out of school because she was being bullied, Jade had to go and homeschool her on top of all of her other jobs. Like, I genuinely do not understand what this stuff is, right? So anyway, remember when Coach B called Zach out for that on Teen Mom Family Reunion? Well, that really hit close to home for him, and he has been moping over it ever since. And so I think that that's some of the stuff that like came into play when he was being like weirdly like defensive with Cheyenne, when she was asking him like when he's planning on getting a damn job, and she asked him nicely and everything like that. But yeah, there's just a lot of like weirdness going on in these dynamics. And I really think that Cheyenne is slowly waking up to the fact that like this might not have been a good idea, like, really hitching her wagon to Zach. And it's going to be interesting to watch that play out over the next couple of years. Now, I do have to say that after this like brunch with the girls, Cheyenne and Jade, they bring their men along for like an evening situation where they chat, like have a double date. And Cheyenne's sister, that letter of the alphabet, she stayed at home to like watch the kids and everything like that for them. And I thought that was amazing. One thing about Cheyenne is that she has the most amazing support system, right? Like they've got not only money, right, but love as well, right? So it's really, really beautiful to constantly see that on display on the show, because this is something that's missing both things, right, from like most of these families of the other people. And she has all of that, which again makes me wonder how she wound up with this guy. But I digress. So they do their double date, and then we find out, and I don't even remember this from Family Reunion. This must have been an episode I didn't watch, one of the earlier ones. And it turns out that Jade had a very like traumatic pregnancy and traumatic birth, and that's why she has been withholding like sex from Sean for fear of getting pregnant. And I had no idea. And here comes Sean, just like his deadbeat friend Zach, or unemployed friend Zach, begging Jade for another baby. And I'm like, dude, you both you and Jade seem to not like really be into the one you already have. You guys speak to her like you don't even like her. And then on top of that, you don't have a job, you're not bringing any money in, and you complain about when she asks you to like watch your own kid because you're playing video games. And she had a traumatic pregnancy, she had a traumatic birth, and here you are begging her for another child? Am I in the twilight zone? Like, what is going on with these people? It is so weird the way that these men who don't contribute much of anything to their households, and they see the how difficult it is for these women to go through pregnancies and childbirth and stuff like that. They come out here demanding more children from them. Like, that's insane. Another one that like reminds me of this, like in terms of the traumatic pregnancy, birth, and like the person like not really caring, is Khesanio and Mackenzie. Pregnancy and childbirth seems to be life and death for Mackenzie, and she's been very adamant about that. But the man is still pushing her to have kids. Like, I feel like we need to have a deep dive into why men are disregarding the safety of these women that they claim to love. It's alarming to me, you guys. It genuinely is. Wow. I felt really bad for Jade in that moment when they were kind of like pushing that subject up, especially with it being like Cheyenne and stuff. I'm like, Cheyenne, you already know that you don't want any more kids and stuff like that. So why do you, and you didn't like being pressured. So why did you put this on the table? You know what I mean? Oof, poor thing, poor thing, poor thing. Now, the ladies leave the table at this point, and that allows for the boys to have a little bit of a discussion. And Sean tells Zach about how he's taking his like career seriously now. He's studying to be a home inspector. And I gotta say, two snaps for you, Sean, because you seem to be very serious about it. You seem happy. And I think that that's the most important thing, that you're not doing something like begrudgingly, you know? You found something that you really want to do, and it inspires you, it makes you happy, and it excites you. And I'm happy about that. But I do have to say, Zach, your eyes look very sad when you hear Sean talk about it. Like, it's kind of like Zach thought that the two of them would just be like scrubs together forever. But Sean decided to step up, right? Like, he got married to Jade. He made this commitment. He's going to step up, do his part for their family. And Zach is still kind of left behind. I'm seeing a lot of sadness in his eyes, you guys. Like, I think he's dealing with some sort of depression or something that's undiagnosed. Or maybe it's shame because, you know, he's got that huge criminal record that's holding him back from doing things that he wants to do, right? Poor guy. I really hope that that's addressed eventually on this show, and that they find a way to like help him move forward, or that he finds a way. Listen, you got all the time in the world, dude. You like, you're lucky you don't have to work, right, to pay any bills or anything like that. So I hope you take the steps necessary to seek out help, you know, if that's what you need. That if that's what you need to get out of this dark place that your eyes are telling me you're in. Now, next up in West Virginia, PSA Leah is driving along with her daughters when Leah tells her about like this confrontation she had at school in a classroom with her teacher. Aaliyah wanted to go to the washroom, and the teacher told her that she could not go. And she was like, I need to go. The teacher refused. And she goes, I'm on my period. I have to go. And so it was like this whole thing. And then she eventually went anyway, which good for her. And Leah was very encouraging of that. She's like, yeah, like, feel free. Let me know anytime something like that happens, I'll handle it. And that reminds me of my own time in school, of like how teachers would be weird about that. Like, I get it. There are some people who want to go out just to like, you know, not be involved in the lesson and stuff like that, or to see their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they just like loiter in the halls and whatnot. But like, it's kind of like, it's a very, very like tricky thing, especially for like, you know, female children. Like, you start getting your period around that age, and you need to use the bathroom more than like boys and stuff like that. So I am glad that they're raising awareness for this kind of thing. You know, I remember like when I was first getting, and like, you know, when you're first getting your period, and even if you're using pads and stuff, you don't really know how this stuff works. Like, you like, it's a lot. So I really do hope that they look into that kind of thing, because it reminded me, this conversation that they were having, of a time where I had like an accident on my own, just because like, same thing, the teacher would not allow us to go to the bathroom. And you know how embarrassing it is walking around like trying to get out of class, and you just like, you know, that you like bled everywhere, like really, really bad. So I am really happy that they're having these conversations and everything like that. And it wouldn't be PSA Leah without like a proper, like, you know, long drawn out PSA. So the girls get home, and Aaliyah decides to demonstrate to the horror of her younger sister, Addie, what a tampon looks like, and how it functions, how it holds the blood and everything like that. And that was rather like great, that she was just so confident to like, you know, share all of this on camera and everything like that. Like, she gives me such cool girl vibes. You know, she reminds me of, and she's like younger than those girls, but this weekend, well, yeah, the weekend that passed before this one, I was in Montreal with my friends to Osheaga, and then I like really realized like, oh my god, I'm getting older. Like, I'm only 30, you know, it's still hip, it's still young, but there's like a crop of like cool 20-year-olds, you know. And I was like, oh my god, like, I feel like she's gonna fit into like that crop of girls, like just so confident, so cool, so like smart and everything like that. Like, good for you. I really, really like her. And there was like this funny moment afterwards. So basically, she and her twin, they pull out these sugar cookies from the oven that they were baking. And all three of the girls just start eating these sugar cookies. And Leah's horrified. She's like, oh, there's 12 cookies. Are you guys going to eat all those cookies in one sitting? And then Allie, she's like, yeah, don't you like go like ravenous when you're on your period? Like, don't you like eating all this like junk food and stuff? And she clocked it. I was like, yep. Gag it, clock it, girl. Here's the thing, like, I was like, girl, what does that say about me? Because 12 cookies to me is nothing. I can eat that in 30 seconds flat. Like, I do not care. I love to chow down. When I'm eating junk food, I am eating junk food. I'm not being dainty about it. I'm being Shrekish about it. Okay, so let the girls have their little junk food. Now, Zach, by the way, he like really is dragging out this whole thing. Like, the fact that we need an entire season for a grown-ass father of two to talk about like potentially getting a job one day. Like she honestly should be embarrassed. And here's the thing, in today's day and age where you could be an entrepreneur, like you don't even have to have your criminal record blocking you from, making a good living anymore. Zach, you can go ahead, like with it, like you've got all of these like capable men around you. Your wife is an entrepreneur. These men are entrepreneurs. They can help you launch your own business, or like you can get active in their businesses and stuff like that. And here you are, like a little lost puppy, like a lost little boy, the way Coach B said you were, asking everyone to hold your hand through getting a damn job. Like, it's weird, dude. It's freaking weird. But I do appreciate the fact that you brought out Cheyenne's stepdad. Anytime he is on screen, good. Bring him around more. Help him. Maybe he'll help you open up your first bank account too. Like maybe he'll help you go to the mailbox and get your mail. Anytime you bring him around to guide you, I am happy at least. But honestly, it's very odd. So these guys are telling him, like, Zach, like you don't even have to have a glamorous job. Cheyenne's dad, who's rich now, is talking about like, when I married my wife and I had those children to provide for, I was taking any job I could find. I was even scrubbing toilets. Okay. And then the other dads, like, they said that it's true that he was hustling and doing all these things, And then Zach is like, well, I want to be a firefighter. Guys, I had no idea that to be a firefighter, you had to go through EMT. Is EMT kind of like, I should have looked this up before I started filming, but listen, country differences, because to me, an EMT is kind of like an ambulance person. So I'm like, you have to go through being an ambulance person before being a fire. I thought these were completely separate career tracks, but that's what he's claiming. And then he's saying in order to be an EMT, like he would have to get his record expunged. Zach is a felon, you guys. He was out here stealing people's credit card information. He was out here opening up Verizon phone, or was it AT&T phone plans in people's names, stealing identities. He's got multiple DUIs. That man was doing all sorts of strange things, which again, I don't understand, because he seems to come from a good family. How did you get into this, Zach? If you want to tell us how you got into this, like, and I think like that would help him be sympathetic to people. Like, go ahead and share what happened. Like, is it like, are things not exactly as they seem with your family? Like, did you get caught up with like the wrong crowd? Like, did you guys want to, because one thing I noticed in like certain cultures, I should say, like, because I think like, for example, in Ottawa, we didn't really have this kind of a culture, but like in Toronto, I know that there's a culture of this. And I've heard about this being a thing in the US about like, kids who grew up like suburban or like in families with money or stuff like that being made fun of or being called not cool or square by kids who like, grew up in like rougher environments. Like, so is that what happened? Like he was a suburban kid and he wanted to fit in with the quote unquote cool kids. And so he went down this like rabbit hole and this thing that ruined his entire life. Like, I'm really curious to know. Right. So anyway, these guys, like, they're very like nice to him. They're very non-judgmental and everything like that. And like Cheyenne's step Zaddy even offered to put him in contact with some people who can like, look into getting his record expunged. I'm like, again, Cheyenne's family just makes me so happy, like from the sister watching everybody's kids to Zach getting his hand held by her two dads and by his own dad together too. Right. Like, they are just such a loving, wonderful, like healthy community. I really enjoy seeing them all, especially Cheyenne's stepdad. Now, let's go over to Cheyenne's cheer gym. She opens up the gym and look at the turnout, you guys. It was a full house. Money, 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 girl. You are going to go ahead and make that coin. Let me go ahead and give you that sound effect because you have earned it, you have earned it, Mackenzie. Here you go, girl. Yes, girl. When I saw all those people in her cheer gym, I said, yup, that girl is going to make a cute coin from her business. So good for her. They even had the mayor of the city, Ms. Shirley Groover Bryan, coming out to give a speech and everything like that. Like, it was wonderful. I love when these girls or anyone on the show, they find something that they're passionate about. And that's what I mean. Like, when it comes to Zach too, Zach, you don't have to you necessarily work for someone. If your record is holding you back, look into entrepreneurship. Look at this, and so Mackenzie's boyfriend Khesanio pulls her dad aside to let him know that he looked at rings, but he did not pull the trigger and buy anything because he wants his like approval for his daughter's hand in marriage. And Mackenzie's dad is adorable. He's always just so damn happy. I really, really like him. And so he was thrilled and he's like wishing them all the best of luck. Like, he's obviously got his blessing. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how the proposal plans out. Now, lastly, we get Zach calling someone to look into getting his record expunged. And here's the thing. So he tells Cheyenne about it after, right? They're not going to expunge his record. And guess why, you guys? Because the man is still on probation. So imagine you were on probation, calling, talking about get my record expunged. I'm sorry, but the way I cackled, Zach is a bit of a bird to me. Like he's just so like he's very less than smart. Let's just say, you know, like I'm so, like I thought all this stuff was behind him, but he's still on active probation for actively like you know committing crimes. And you're talking about let's get this expunged. Oh, bless his heart. Honestly, no child left behind my ass. Anyway, you guys, that does it. That was a recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom Next Chapter. As usual, I really want to know what you have to say about everything or what went down. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below and we'll chat. Don't forget, I do have an affiliate link for you to get a free 7-day trial of Philo where you can stream MTV shows, VH1 shows, Lifetime shows, like so many stations are on there. There are over 73 different stations, over 70,000 different shows. There's documentaries, pretty much anything you can imagine. So go ahead and sign up if you want all of that. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.